Morning, everybody. Welcome. Hello. Give me a chat. Let me know you're here. Happy Monday. Happy Martin Luther King Day. Good morning, Christiane. Hey, Jane. Hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome. Happy Monday. It's a big week. Mary Beth, hey. It's been a while. Welcome. So good to see you. So good to see that you are here. Hi, Marla. Hey, everybody. Okay. Oh, it is a big week. It is a moment for sure. These moments are are perfect opportunities to put these practices into real life. It's where, what do they say, that the pedal hits the metal, the rubber hits the road. Yeah. So on my walk this morning, good morning, Gail. Per usual, I was thinking, walking, thinking. And I was again noticing all the yard signs in the neighborhood that say, hate has no home here. And I was remembering 4 years ago, right around this time, when those signs all popped up. And it's been quite the 4 years. And here we are now on the eve of the inauguration of a new president and a new administration. I feel it's important to say that we can't take those signs down. We can't forget those sentiments. We can't stop saying those things. Because while what they call the Overton window, the things that have become acceptable, has shifted around what it's okay for elected officials and for some of their supporters to say and do in public view, in plain sight, and with open ears, while that has shifted, we also have to shift what we need to keep saying, what we need to keep remembering. Because 4 years ago, those of us in positions of privilege didn't realize that we had to say out loud and put signs up that claim hate has no home here. We didn't realize we had to say, we thought it went without saying that Black Lives Matter and that love is love and that sex and gender are not the same thing, and that science is real, and that no human being is an alien. We didn't know that we had to say those things. We thought they went without saying. And we need to keep saying them. We need to keep saying them with love, with compassionate presence, and with clear and open voices, ready to have the conversations with those who may question those statements. So while we keep saying those things, and while we say them with love in our hearts, we can remember who we're honoring today, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, and one of his most enduring statements, which was that darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. And hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. So as we engage in our embodied practice of those ideas, there are lots of ways to reinforce and leverage the light and the love that live inside of us. One way that I'll offer today in practice is to stay close to the ground in humble strength. And so that's the theme for the physical practice this morning. So you'll want probably some padding under your knees. Good boy. Go to your pillow. You'll want some padding under your knees so that you can move around with ease on the kneecaps. I'm still wearing my socks because it's chilly this morning. So start on hands and knees and just do some swirly, whirly, twirlies of the hips around and around and around and around. And when intuition calls, you may switch the direction of the swirly, whirly, twirlies. Check in with your breath. Notice the ins and the outs, and perhaps the pauses at tops and bottoms of breath. And pause at center and shift forward and backwards, just gently gliding on the central line, the axis that runs up and down the column of your spine through the center of your torso, reinforcing your awareness and your orientation around that line. And matching your breath with the movements in the way that makes sense for you. And then shifting side to side. So doing the perpendicular movement oriented to that long axis. We were just previously moving on the longitude, and now we're gliding on the latitude. Breathing as we move and moving as we breathe. So now find a diagonal. So the right hip moving to the right rear corner, and then doing a diagonal to the front left corner. And here, if you want to notice or bring your awareness into the abdominal center, you can light some strength and fire in the center as you keep the spine relatively neutral on these diagonal plane movements. And then pause at center, and then do the opposite, left hip to left rear corner, and then to the front right corner. Looking to keep the torso neutral the whole time. A couple more on this side. And then find center. Good. And then drop a little further back as if you're moving toward child's pose. Make lots of room for any flesh in the lower belly. And then glide forward and roll over the kneecaps. Bend your elbows, lower your pelvis, your belly, your lower ribs, and your chest to the ground. And then open up the chest, do a gentle cobra pose, shoulders up and back, shoulder blades squeezing together on the upper back, and then back again toward child's pose. Go as deep as you wish or as deep as your body wishes for you to go. And then again, roll over the kneecaps, the thighs, the pelvis, the lower belly, the bottom ribs, and the chest. Maybe even land your forehead lightly on the ground. Lift up to a gentle heart open cobra, shoulders up and back, shoulder blades squeezing together, back and forth, breathing the ins and the outs, pausing perhaps at the tops and the bottoms of the breath. You might find that the slower you go, the more emphasis on a strengthening perspective, and the faster you go, the more emphasis on the fluid, mobile perspective. Choose your pace. One or two more times. And the next time you come to center, stay there. Bring the knees a little closer to each other. And center one hand underneath your nose so the shoulder drops straight down to the wrist. And then lift the other arm up and scoop it underneath you between the space of your hands and your knees. And either stop on your elbow and then bring the other hand up to your hip and turn your chest, or perhaps slide the bottom arm all the way down to the head and shoulder, and the other arm comes behind the back. We are threading the needle, giving a gentle twist to the spine, breathing in and out. Perhaps taking a gentle pause at the top and bottom. And then take whatever hand is behind your back and then straighten the arm and dial it forward. Press the palm into the floor. Bring yourself up and right yourself again. And then center the other hand directly under the nose, shoulder above the wrist. Reach your arm up, inhale, and then scoop the arm underneath and exhale. I'll show the other version on this side. Elbow down. The forearm is braced on the floor. Other hand to the hip. Gentle twist of the chest. Long, steady breaths. Perhaps a gentle pause after the exhale. And at the top of the full inhale. And then dial the hand that was either on the hip or behind you. Straighten it up, dial it forward and reach. And then press into the hand and right yourself into table pose. Tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Long and steady in the breath, long and spacious in the spine. And as we observe the ins and the outs of the breath, we can take a moment to pause at the emptiness after the out and the fullness at the top of the in. And then bend your knees and come back down to the ground. So shift the hips now to one side of your feet. And sit up nice and tall and then angle your knees a little bit to one side. And then lean out onto the hand that belongs to the side your knees are pointing. So if your knees are pointing to the left, it's your left hand. If they're pointing to the right, it's your right hand. And take the top leg and stretch it back behind you. And then take the other arm and reach it out and back. Turn the heart up. If you activate this leg that's straight and back behind you by flexing at the ankle joint, waking up the toes, then the leg will be steady. It will give you a little bit of stability. Take a deep breath. And then dial this arm up and over toward the opposite corner of the mat or wherever you're sitting, and lean over this bent knee. And then you can keep the back leg active, keep the thigh perking up and the knee straight, leading off to the foot. So a humble strength here, bowing down to the ground, sort of that humility that comes with recognizing that each of us is just one person, and yet the strength that's involved in keeping this back leg active and lengthening the spine decidedly, to remind us that just one person can do so much, can say so many things of grave importance, especially right now. Now, let's come out the way we came in. So take the one arm that's closer to the front of your body, stretch it out, and then backstroke it up, 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 up toward the back leg. Come off of the elbow, and then bring this knee in. And then swivel around to the other side, a gentle swivel. Knees are pointing a little bit diagonally. Stretch the hand off to the side as you lean over. Come onto your elbow. And then straighten the top leg back. Active thigh, straight knee, flexed ankle. Open up the other arm. Reach it back. Turn your heart up. And then as you inhale next, dial the arm up and over to the other side, and then swing around and bend over this bent knee. Fold over the bent knee. Bowing down to the ground, but keep the back leg active. A humble strength to hold you here. Following the easy, natural pace of your breath, the ins and the outs of you being alive in this moment. And in those pauses, perhaps at the top and the bottom, a reminder of your humble power to say the things that we didn't realize needed to be said, and to keep saying them for as long as we need to. Coming out the way we came in, stretch this forward arm out, reach it up, 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 dial it back, stroking toward the back leg as you rise up, and invite the knee back in. Repeating on the first side, we'll add on here, and I think I'm warm enough to take my socks off. So starting the same way, sliding the hand out, come to the elbow, stretch the back leg, reach up with the other arm, open it to the back so the chest turns upward. And then dial the arm over. And this time, instead of folding over the front knee, we're going to pop up onto it. So bring the hands back in a little bit, and then lift up onto this knee that before you were folding over. Drop the back heel down so your inner edge of your foot is slicing into the floor. And now the top arm up and over. I'm on my fingertips here on the bottom hand. You could be on the palm, you could be on a fist, you could be on a block or a piece of furniture with the bottom hand or elbow. Looking for a long straight line from your top hand and fingertips all the way down the outer arm, the outer shoulder, the sideline of the torso, outer hip, outer leg into the heel. And then turn to the floor, 2 hands down, drop back onto the knee. Gather up the back knee and swivel to the other side. Again, slide the hand out, come to the elbow, straighten the top leg back. And now, instead of folding over the knee, we're going to come up onto it, slice the inner edge of the back foot into the ground. Brace yourself with your fingertips or your palm or a fist, whatever's best for you, most stabilizing. Take the arm up and out and over. Long, steady breaths. And then turn to the floor. Hand comes down. Drop back onto the hip. Gather up your back leg. Stack the knees together. And here, just take a little twist away from your feet. And swivel around. Little twist to the other side, away from the feet. Turn to center and straighten your legs out wide as they'll go. Flex your feet so you've got strong creases in the ankles, and press the thigh bones down into the ground. Bring your hands behind your hips, fingertips to the floor. Lift up the chest and squeeze your shoulder blades together. Get lots of space and length in your spine, in particular the lower spine, keeping the top of the pelvis tipped forward so the sacrum stays nestled in between the two bones of the pelvis, the two other bones of the pelvis. And then come forward a bit. Walk the hands closer, maybe bring them in front of your legs. But don't let the waist and the lower back pop behind you. Keep them angling forward. Keep them offering out in front of you, maintaining length and space. A humble, strong presence. Even while bowing down toward the earth. These are some active legs. These are insistent connections to steady ground that give us power to speak, to act, and to love. Watch the ins and the outs of the breath. You might pump some energy into the thighs. You can feel the kneecaps lifting perhaps as you engage the muscles in the thighs, the quads. One more breath here. And then rise back up. Gather up your legs. Come to your back with your knees bent and your feet on the floor. Now, if you've got a cushion or a blanket, you can fold it up here and use it for what's coming next. Or if you have blocks handy, we're going to do a bridge pose with the pelvis lifted. So set yourself up for that. I've got 2 blocks here, and that's what I'm going to use to lift and support my hips. As you lie back, first simply feel the floor under your feet. Feel it under the back of your pelvis. Feel it under your shoulders. Take a few breaths in and out. And now, press into the feet, press into the shoulders, the 2 opposite ends of the bridge. Lift the hips and slide 1 or 2 blocks or a rolled up blanket or a couple of pillows, anything to give you some support under the back of the sacrum. So you don't want the supports way up in the curvy part of your low back. You want it a step lower than that, closer to your feet. So you feel it supporting the sacrum, the bone between the 2 halves of the hip bones. And here, again, feeling the ins and the outs, tuning in to a humble strength as you position yourself on the ground deliberately and open-heartedly. From here, an option is to lift one leg at a time or both legs together. Arms can be straight down by your sides, rolling out a little bit so the elbow creases are turned up and the biceps are rolling out to the sides, perhaps. You may have an option to lace your fingers together with arms straight, depending on what you're using to support you. There are lots of rumors about the physiological benefits of doing a supported shoulder stand like this. All kinds of reasonable theories about the way it reverses the flow of the blood and perhaps helps return lymphatic fluid to be recirculated through and around the heart, which helps with your immune system. There's some notion that perhaps this is stimulating the thyroid gland. If any of those things are true, I'll take it. And if not, I'll be clear that while I'm here, I am deliberately embodying the ideas that I can be a humble power in the world, that one voice matters, and that when we align our voices together in service with love, then we can drive out darkness, we can drive out hate, we can see the dawn of a new day. Perhaps you want to move the legs around and try and take the legs wide apart, keeping active creases at the ankles to help engage the full muscularity of the legs. Perhaps bending the knees, bringing the feet together. And maybe the knees back together. A couple more breaths before we land the feet back to the ground. Stepping down. A gentle lift with an active purpose to pause here and make a little space between your body and the support that was beneath it. And then you can remove whatever you had there, helping you lift. And slowly return the spine back to the ground. Reach the tailbone long toward the heels as you return. Pause for a moment when you land. And then separate the feet as wide as your mat and rock a few times from side to side. And then come back to center and pause here. Stretch out, arms behind you, legs way out in front of you. A long reach from fingers to toes. Big scoop of the breath in. Exhale, arms down, bend the knees, and take your time to roll to your side. And return back to a comfortable, tall seat. A long, steady breath. Bringing palms together in front of your heart. I thank you for being here today. I wish you well. Let's stay present in the next few days. I know that that inauguration day is going to be a challenge for people because of what's being threatened and predicted. And so just make sure that you have your creature comforts, that you have something good prepared to eat and nourish yourself, that you have contact with other people, whether safely in person or virtually through the glory of technology that's keeping us all connected and sane in these days. And most of all, stay close to your breath. Thank you, everybody. Have a beautiful day. See you soon. Take good care. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.